Okay, we're up to Yud Aleph on the base, the Mishnah. We've been discussing the halachas of 3 days before, 3 days before Yom Tov of a guy, can't do business with them, and we continue on that theme. Ir sheyesh ba avodas kechavim, an ir that sheyesh ba avodas kechavim that they have in their city, and the people of that city they have a chag, they have an aid. Chutzala mutta. Those that are outside the city, you're mutta. What does that mean, Rashi? Lasis v'lasis and mayosh from chutz there. Bnei Yisrael, Jews are able to go ahead and do business with those people who are outside the city. Sheinim shacham acha oisai v'az gechavim. They're not drawn after what the people in the city. Shekain minig zeh. Shekain minig zeh oive shaloi v'zeh oive shaloi. Now it's each pagan's got their own pagan. What's their own god? So they own. In other words, the fact that they're in close proximity is no. It's not relevant because why? Because they if they're inside the city, they're serving it. Lav dafka outside the city and serving it. Yud Aleph on the base the Mishnah. Yud Aleph on the base the Mishnah. Okay, so conversely, the opposite way. Outside they had a certain pagan holiday. Then you'd be able to do business with the people on the inside. Now, what ma'ul leilech l'sham? What about going there? Rashi, la'oisei ir b'yom avodas kechavim shalahem l'saper im echad mibnei ha'ir. In other words, for whatever reason, you have to go speak to a person in that city on the day of their chag. I keep on saying chag, Eid. On the day of their holiday, are you able to go? On the day of their holiday, are you able to go? Why? Because we're going to see it's a mamish chashad of Marsayan that people are going to think that what. That people are going to think that you went to go ahead and celebrate. The times when it's miyuchedes for that place, then it's be aser. Rashi, it's a cul-de-sac. It's a one-way street. You got a derech. You're going to go there, and know people know for sure that you're going towards that city. In other words, they can't be malamet schus that there's any other reason you're going because there's no way out. B'derech hakfusha mikan loisayir miuchedes loisayir levada asa loilach shamai mechashad shenir kamahalech loivda. It's malach. It's a chashad that appears wide if you're going there. The however, back in the Mishnah, v'im hoya yachol lahalich balamakam achem muta. Why? Because people are going to say that you're not going particularly to that city. It could be just passing through to go out to another city. So the first din of the Mishnah was what? That just because one place serves, the other place that's close proximity doesn't serve. What is close proximity? Hekidami chutzala. What exactly is chutzala? What does that mean? Amar B'Shem ben Lakish Mishum Reb Chanina kigoyin atluza shel Asa, like the atluza of Asa. Let's see Rashi and Tosfos. Atluza shel Asa. Rashi. Atluza is shuk shel behema. It's a shuk of animals. Kamay itlis, like a butcher. That nan sheichnem beitlis and mecharim beitlis. You can go ahead and sell it in the marketplace and shecht it and sell it beitlis. So, for example, this atluza shel ir shel Asa. So Asa, we know what Asa is, right? Rashi ir shel Pelishtim. It's what we call Gaza. It's always been a problem, guys. It's always been a problem. It's always been a problem. Right, that area. So in Asa they had this day for this Avodah Zorah. Yishuv Samach Le'ir Ma'od. And there was a place that was close by, and that was that Lusa Shel Asa, the Smuch Le'ir Ma'od. Rashi says, Mishori Masnis Kegav Nalat. We want to know that this. So according to the first pshat, it's a statement. At Lusa Shel Asa, you would be able to, despite the fact that it's close by, you could do business with the people in. The Rashi learns you could do business with the people in this marketplace. Tosfos, let's see two pshatim in Tosfos. The first one is the Rashbam. It's about 8 lines down. Rashbam Pirish at Lusa who shem avodas kechavim. It's the name of the Avodah Zorah. It's not a marketplace of butchers. It's fact. It's the name of the Avodah Zorah. Shemichutz la'asa, that was outside Asa. But oivdim oisai b'nei hamigrish shebachutz, and the people that outside they serve this particular Avodah Zorah of Yomecha b'shana. Miboy, and the Gemara is we're going to ask a question. And mutar lasiv b'nei Asa b'yom eid. So according to the Rashbam fellas, it's speaking that That's the name of Avodah Zorah. It's outside the city. You can't do business with them. Could you do business people in the city? The Gemara is going to ask it. Ikad Yami is a kasha, the statement. The first lashon was Rishon ben Lakish was a statement that in fact what you could do business in that close proximity. The next shot is going to be Iba Yasema. Now go down, guys, to Pirishri. The last word in line. Kach Pirishri the Mari Hacha b'shuk she'oisim l'shem avodas kechavim. They make a shuk for the avodah zara. V'lo yom eid hulazeh. It's not a particular day, but that shuk is yeshlachus l'demei avodas kechavim b'yarav kechavim b'soicha. Are we worried that the money that's in hands of the avodah zara came from that shuk that they made for avodah zara? So those are the three pshatim. Rashi's pshat that it's not avodah zara at all. That it's speaking about it's a butcher shop that's outside the city, a shuk of a butcher shop. According to Rashbam, it's the name of Avodah Zorah. According to Taisvis, according to the Ri, it's speaking about a shuk that there's Avodah Zorah. And the question is, can you go ahead and are you worried about money coming from that place? That might be the Shem Avodah Zorah. So back in the Gemara, Vikad Yami others say, it wasn't said as a statement, as a fait accompli that you could do business with the shuk of Azla. We'll keep it Rashi's pshat to make it easy, right? But it was a question. What about what's the halacha of atlusa shel Aza? Could you do business with them or not? Right? Could you do business with them or not? Are we worried about now? We're going to see that there's two chashadim. We're going to see der reisen the chashad and der bonin the chashad. Right, Marasayim. Well, again, that is one possibility. Well, but I don't know if it's Marasayim so much. The Chashad, I don't think it's Marasayim. Marasayim would be if you go when you're walking there, people will say that you're going to serve the Avodah Zorah. What's the Marasayim over here? We're worried that you're going to have money of Avodah Zorah in your hand. You're worried that they're going to thank their Avodah Zorah. That's the reason for the aid. That's the reason for the aid. It's not a Marasayim. Where's the Marasayim? Where's the Marasayim over here? Again. Vikadiyami boy mine Rishon ben Lakish maybe Rabbi Chanina alusa shel Aza mahu Amalei. So Rabbi Chanina answered Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish le'alachta litzur mimecha. Did you not go to tzur in your life? Rashi says what's unique about tzur, or in the art scroll tyre, right? So we're familiar with the Iranian currency, right? The 1/8 of Kesef Tzuri. So there was this city that had both Jews and Goyim living in the city, and you didn't go to Tzur Mimecha Isa Yisrael V'Oived Kechavim, and you saw Jews and Goyim. Shesafsu Shtei Kederos Al Gabe Kira Achat. They were resting two pots on one stovetop. Leichashu lehem Chachamim, and the Chachamim were not worried about being over any Avera. That you're over any Avera. What were they not worried about? We're going to have three pshatim, guys. Amar Abaya, Mishum Basa Nevela, Lo Yamrinon, Dilma Mahader Ape Yisrael Lachure. The Jew turned around. V'shadei Yavi Kechavim Nevela B'Kedera. Now, would that be in Issa Daraisa? Yeah, absolutely, right? Yeah. Absolutely, right? So we're not worried about it. In Issa Daraisa, we're not worried. Just, okay. And parallel to that, we're not worried about what? The money of Avodah Zorah. Rashi says two pshatim. It's interesting. From the way I looked at Rashi, I wasn't clear what Rashi meant, but Tosfos learned pshat in Rashi, which I think is, let's go with Tosfos pshat. The kavasi hachanami lechoshu chacham l'mei avodas kechavim biyad. What does it mean? The worth of avodas kechavim in the hands of avodas kechavim. Pirisha kontrish the nema domim halalu shulekeach mehem. The money that he goes ahead shulekeach mehem basar, right? The money that he let's see, you're selling them meat. You come, you're a Jew, you're selling them meat, and they're gonna pay. What are they gonna pay with? Money that was used for Avodah Zorah, which is the Raisa, guys. So mehem bas zu shel bnei toicha hein. Maybe it came from the money from the people inside. Ukvar hoyu nikuravim la'avodas kechavim, and they already used this money. They were makriv this money to Avodah Zorah. V'yasurim midaraisa dichsiv It shouldn't be go ahead and in your hands. So guys, Abai is saying we're not worried on the Daraisa level. Guys, in other words, the way Rashi's uptitling the Tzushtel from the case, you have two Kederis, you're not worried that the guy is going to take the veil and put it in your pot, which is Masha Nisa Daraisa. So you know what about Nisa Daraisa? You're not worried about the money coming from the city, that maybe that money is Takrubas Avodah Zorah. Maybe that itself was Avodah Zorah. We're not worried about that. The Kol Shekain, you're not worried about the Rabbanan then. And Kol Shekain, you won't worry about a person that's outside the city keeping the Avodah Zorah. That would be a chashad. That you're worried about. In other words, maybe you have a unique individual who's outside the city who's keeping Avodah Zarah. So I'm not worried about the Raisa and certainly not the Rabbanan. That's the way Rashi learns. Good? So that's the first. That's a Baya. We're not worried about the Raisa. Okay. Rava doesn't like that. Rava Amar, my lechashulim chachamim, not the Raisa. Mishum bishulei ovdei kechavim. He's worried about Bishul Akam. That's one of the main sugyas in this Masechta. Bishul Akam is the Rabbanan, fellas. Not being able to eat from food that was cooked by a guy is the Rabbanan. Good? So, and therefore, Hachanami, it's so you have two Kederis on a pot. You're not concerned that a guy started the fire or that the guy started the pot. You're not worried about that. Now that's the Rabbanan. Good? The Kavasi Hachanami, Lechashu Lehem Chachamim, Mishum Yoimedam. They're not worried about what? Doing business on the day of the Eid. They're not worried about doing the business on the day of the Eid. But Bidaraisa, they would worry. Bidaraisa, you would be chayshid. Only the Rabbanah not doing business on the Yom Eid, that they're going to thank the Avodah Zarah, or we said, right? So, but you would worry about a Daraisa. Let's see Rashi inside, guys. So again, before we see Rashi inside, Abaya says, again, it's very interesting to bring a mashal from Rabbi Chanina is telling Rishim and Lakish, you have a stove top, and you have two on top. You have two pots, one belonging to Yid, one to Miyagoy. Abai says you're not worried about taking the vela, putting in the other pot, which is the Raisa. Rabbi says you're not worried about Bishul Akim, which is the Rabbanan. Right? We spoke out in Rashi. The Chshad de Raisa would be that you're going to end up with money that was used for Avodah Zarah, which is the Raisa, or an individual that is outside is keeping the Avodah Zarah. Rabbi says, no, you're worried about the Rabbanon, that Yom Eidam, that they're going to go ahead on the day of their Eid, they're going to thank the Avodah Zarah. So let's see Rashi. Rava Amar, Haile Chashu, Lav Lebas and the Vela Kamar. When it says that we're not worried with the mushal of the pots, it doesn't mean we're not worried about Bas and the Vela. We're doing Rashi on Yud Beis. We're not worried about Bas and the Vela. Right? The Nelef Mina, that we would learn from it, the Kavase, that we learn something from it, that we won't worry about actual money use for Avodah Zarah. The Loidami, it's not comparable. The Hasam, less Hana Loivdi Kachavim, the Nishadi Nevela, the Kedera. The guy does not have what? The guy does not have any Hana throwing Nevela into the pot. They missed the fate because he's scared. The Chazila Yisrael, Tavala Bedina. If the Jew sees him, he's going to bring him to court that he's ruining his food. Aval Hacha, you know what the Tushtel is, guys? Aval Hacha Miskavi Novi Kichavim, Lasas Watson Chabeiroi. Right. Aval Hacha Miskavi Novi Kichavim to do the Watson of his friend. Ela Hachikama. What does that mean? The Chazila Yisrael Tavala Bedina, Aval Hacha Miskavi Novi Kichavim, Lasas Watson Chabeiroi. But here he wants to, here he wants to do something. By Nevela, it's a bad thing. But here he wants to do something. So therefore, what's the pshat if he wants to do something? Elohachi kamar. Lechashu lehem chachamim mishum bishuli ovid kechavim. Dil mesamech Yisrael al ovid kechavim levashlei. The guy would like that the Jew is samech on him to cook. The ka'achli bishuli akim the rabbanan. So Rava did not like the pshat of Abaya because what would he gain by going ahead and throwing the nevela in? Adarabba, he'll get caught. Adarabba, he'll get caught. He didn't like that. So therefore, what must it be? Something he would gain by. What would he gain by? Oh, I'm doing the Jew a good turn. I'm going ahead right and I'm throwing the pot. So that's Rava's pshat. Nafkamina, guys. Rava by the Raisa Mashma, you would worry. Right? Okay. A third pshat. Rabba bar Ula Amar leichashu lehem chachamim mishum tzinoira. Not worried about tziner. Usually means a funnel. Means a flow. So what are you worried about? You got two pots. Maybe it's going to splash one to the other, right? But so you're not worried about that. The kavase hachanami leichashu lehem chachamim mishum lifnei edehem. That they're not. Now he says you're not worried. You're not worried about 3 days before. Mashma, you are worried in the day itself. Okay, what's the tzushtel? Let's see Rashi. Okay, we're not worried. In other words, he said bishlachim also you're not worried about. Rabba, guys, Rashi. Rabba ba'ula amar b'yoim edom shel b'nei Aza leishari Reb Chanina lases v'lases and b'nei Atlusa. On the day of the Eid itself, Reb Chanina would not allow the people outside the Jews out to do business with them outside the city. It's not comparable to them at all. The Hasam lekal mechish mishum bishulei avikachavim michi osi Yisrael chodezim lebekachalim. Guys, what happens? My father had a geschäft. He walked in. He had a guy working in the back, and the guy, I remember, was a little boy. The guy told me, "Can you please turn on the stove?" And I said, "My mother doesn't let me play with fire." So he said, my father came. I said, when he turned on the stove. And I understood. I asked my father, because the guy can't turn on the stove. If they turn on the stove, then it's bishalakim. So once you turn it on, the guy can cook haint bismorgan. So what are you going to worry about? He's going to start a pot. He can start all he wants as long as what he turned it in first. So therefore, Rabbi Bar Ula did not like Rav's pshat. What is there's no chashad? What are you worried about? You leaving the two pots? You would have taken care of bishalakim earlier. You would have gone ahead and started the fire. Continues. Right over here, you would be suspicious. Maybe the people outside have shaykhs to the people inside. Since it's so close to it. It's not we're speaking it's so close. In other words, that they permitted, it wasn't so close. Reb Chanina only permitted when it's inside the city. He didn't permit the day of the Eid when it's close by. He permitted 3 days before. You're not worried that maybe it's splashed. Since it's a kal. Why? Because it's going to be bottled. It's not shaykh. But it'll be bottled beroiv. Hachanami lechashul issa chutzala shal bnei Aza af mishes muchala mamish. When achasha to the issa of chutzala on bnei Aza, even though it's smucha. What does that mean? Lifnei edeyim. So, guys, comes out. We have 3 ways to view a city that's close to it. Right? We have Abaya, we have Rava, and we have Rabba Bar Ula. Abaya was afilu deraisa. You don't have to worry about. Rava says the Rabbanan you don't have to worry about, and says Rabba Bar Ula you have to worry about everything. On the day of the Eid, you have to worry about everything. Even outside the city, you have to worry about. What don't you have to worry about outside the city? 3 days before. And what was the tzushtel? The tzushtel was that an isakal, that you're not worried about splashing, because splashing is not shriach and B it's batal. So an isakal, meaning what? Lifnei Eid, you wouldn't have to worry. Those are the 3 pshatim over here. Okay, now this is sugya of Marasai. Now Heshi, this was alluded to this sugya. He said, what's the din of going there? So we made a difference between whether there's another way out of the city or not. Tanur Rabbanan. Ir sheyesh ba avodas kechavim, asali kanis l'saychai, right? An ear that you have in the city in Avodah Zorah, it's also to go into the city, but let me saychal eir acheres, and you can't go to that city to another city. Now it's be asa to go through that city to another city. Divrei Meir. The Chachamim Ma'imrim calls man she'aderech miyuchedes loisnei makam asa. If the derech is miyuchet for that spot, then what it would be asa. That's the Rosh brings the Yerushalmi. That's dafka a person who is a wayfarer, but a person who belongs in the city, obviously he could go there. Ain't a derech miyuchedes leisne makam mutter. But if the derech is not miyuched, there's other ways beyond that, then it'd be mutter. Okay, now yashiv like kais mifnei avodas kechavim lo yishcha v'yitlena mifnei shenira kimishtach v'avodas kechavim. Let's say you have a splinter in your foot. You have some type of kites in your foot, and you're in front of an avodah zarah. Don't bend down to go ahead and take it out, because then it will appear as if what you're in front of the avodah zarah. It'll appear that if you're bowing down to the avodah zarah. So here's a marasayin shaila. Nira, but if what? If ve'ena nira mit mutter. We'll see. The Gemara is going to explain what does it mean ve'ena nira. Nispas ruloi ma'osav. Let's say he's walking along and his wallet falls out and all his coins go ahead and in front of the avodah zarah. Right? Don't bow down and take them. So the same halacha, just two different mitzias. One a kites and one what? One money. Same halacha. You have a water fountain. Do not don't bow down and drink from it. So you have three halachas about this exact same thing: a kites, money, and water. Pitzufos hamakalchim mayim pitzufos. Rashi says pitzufos adam. It's the feature of a man, and chalulim. It's hollowed out. V'nichnas silain mayim lacheirehem, and a flow of water would go from the backside, the seichon. V'yotze derech piem, and it would go out from their mouths. What's it called? A fountain. A fountain. Yeah. So, lekrachim lo yaniach piv al pihem v'yishte v'shenira kimenashik le'avodas kechavim. Rashi says it's derech yoshvi krachim v'snag b'gdula by having such things there. Okay, kiyotzeba a similar halacha lo yaniach piv al silain. A person should put his mouth on a pipe v'yishte mifnei sakana, because the sakana we worry about a leech. Right? My eina nira. But now we just said a few halachas, right? And we said the eina nira muta. So what we want to get definition. What does it mean by eina nira? People don't see them at all. Maybe you don't see them at all. So why do we care if people see him? It's asmarasayin. Even if people don't see him, it's asa. So it can't mean as literally you would tight shit. Well, if person doesn't see you, go ahead, get your money, take out your kites, and take a drink. You know. Ela ema im einay nira kimishtachave ela by this kechavim. It muta. If it doesn't appear, if you are bowing down to the avodah zarah, it doesn't appear that you're bowing to avodah zarah. You're inclining on the side, right? Right. No, look at Rashi. 3 lines on the bottom. V'einay nira kimishtachave shepoina achrav. You turn your back. In other words, let's say Avrami, you don't go look this direction. You turn away. You go that direction. In other words, if you would take the kites out with your backside facing the avodah zarah, or right then it would be okay. Or if you go on your side, as long as you don't like you're bowing towards the avodah zarah. Right. Now there's a rashba here in the halacha, a very fascinating rashba, guys. We know that avodah zarah is one of the big three that yereg val yavar. But I would say that's only when it's a derisive situation. Here you see afilu dirabbanon, even with maras ayin it would be asa. Says the Rashba. This is maras ayin. You're not bowing down to the avodah zarah, but if it's going to look like it, you can't do it. So in other words, if you had the story with Hannah and the kids, they threw it down and I didn't do it. Still.
That's also whatever.
Yeah. According to the Rashba, it'd be yereg val yavar. It's just anyway. So now we b'tzricha. Now, guys, how many cases do we have? We had a case of a kites, we had a case of money, and a case of a water fountain. B'tzricha, you got to tell me each one case. The ton of kites, mishum the efshel lemezel kamei umeshakle. Why do you have to stop and take it out over there? The kites is on you. It's internal. It's not external. So just keep on walking along a few more feet and take out the kites. So therefore, we say don't do it. Aval moist loy efsha aim aloi. But the money, it's in front of Avodah Zarah. You have no choice. I would say what? That in fact you could go ahead and do it. Vitana moist dimamayna aval koitz that Sa'ara aim aloi. And if it's money, you know why you can't? Because it's only money. But kites where you're in Sar, I would think you could. Kamashmal, no. Vitana hani, party, kites and money. Mishum deleka sakana. Al ma'ayin, the ikka sakana. The loishasi mayis. If you don't drink, you're going to die. Right? That you don't drink, you're going to die. I would think, what, aim alois, it's richa that what, that you could do it. The guy must be really, if he's going to go, must be really famished. Now, you told me going back to the end of the brisa. You told me a case of what? A pirtzuf. You don't put your mouth on it because it looks like what? It looks like you're going ahead on and kissing the avodah zarah. So what the Gemara wants to know, pirtzufais lamali. Rashi, hatana ma'ayin the ikasakana sama v'kasa. Once you told me to drink from a fountain directly is asa, why do you tell me the case of pirtzuf? And for the Gemara, you're right. Mishum the Gemara limisni kayotzeba la yaniach piv al gabe siloin v'yishta mefnei sakana. Since we have the seifa, we want to introduce it, segue in the case of pirtzuf, right? Taisus points out the afagav de menashek laboydis kechovim eina chomor kemishtachabeh. So maybe that's a chiddush, guys. So the chiddush would be that you still can't do it. To look like you're bowing down, you can't. But to kiss, which is not as bad as bowing down, so maybe the chiddush is that what? Afal Pika, you can't do it. So what's the Gemara's kasha? Freg Toisus, what's the Gemara's kasha? Fellas, Menashek is not as bad. So maybe the chiddush is telling me, Afal Pika, you can't do it. And for Toisus, Mikomakim, Kim Nikanami Sur da Raisa b'Menashek, Shamin Lemihah de La'el da Asa. Since there is Nisa da Raisa, Toisus says by Menashek, we hear we hear that it's Asa. So, okay. So once we heard that it's asa, what do you have to tell it to me? Now, what's the reason you shouldn't go ahead and put your mouth on a sealam v'yishrim v'nei sakana? My sakana is aluka. Now, if you look at Taisvis, Habalea, Nima, okay, if you look at the middle of Taisvis, this is Ba'arach Gares Arka, Pirish Tailas Katana, a small worm. It's found in water. When it falls on the skin, nitlis boy, it hangs from it. When it sets us down and it sucks out your blood, that's a leech. That's a leech. That's so Aruch is describing a leech, right? Always describing a leech. Tanabanan. La yishta adamaya, loymina harois, loymina agamim, not from rivers and not from ponds, loy bepiv, directly from your mouth. And not in one hand, and if you do, right. My sakana saluka. Someone who swallows a nima of from the water. Nima usually it's some type of that's not a hornet. A nima is not a hornet. It's a little nima is usually a hair. It's usually something small. Right. It's muta lehachim loichamim b'Shabbos. Right. It's a sakonis nefashis, and one of the remedies is hot water. Sakonis nefashis, you're able to heat the water on Shabbos. U'maisa be'echad shebola nima shel mayim v'hita Rabbi Chanina or Rabbi Nechemia lehachim loichamim b'Shabbos, to go ahead and heat up the water on Shabbos. Ad hachi v'hachi, before you have a chance to heat up the water, you want to go ahead and keep the guy, okay. Amar Rav Huna Bereda of Yeshua Ligma Chala. Let him go ahead and take a good drink of vinegar. He takes a good drink of vinegar, he'll be okay. I guess until you get the hot water there. Amar Avidi Bar Ovin Haiman de Bola Zibura. If you swallow a zibura is a bee or a hornet, some type of flying insect, Michya Loichaya, you're not going to live. Miu the Shaki Riviasa de Chala. Drink a quarter of revius of vinegar, shemagas, a strong vinegar. After the chai porta, you'll live a little bit at the mafkiwa basic till you have time to go ahead and command your house. So I'll tell you something fascinating. Did you hear about Prince Philip's friend? Prince Philip had this is definitely making the blog. Prince Philip just recently, his billionaire playing polo swallowed a bee and died. You didn't hear this? Yeah. It just happened. He's a billionaire. He was playing polo. He swallowed a bee and he died. Al Shteiten Gemara. You're not going to live.
According to this tomorrow, would you be allowed to drink from a pipe that has hot water?
Hmm?
You allowed to drink from a pipe that has hot water?
Boiled water. This is boiled water. There's no pipe that has boiled water. But I guess they don't stay in boiled water. I guess they, again, the leeches, I don't know. You drink that stuff.
If you worry about the
Again, you could always drink with two hands. You always drink with two hands. One hand not. You want to drink, take two hands. It's sealant. You take the sealant, you put your hands there. You can see. You can take a look. You can take a look and take a drink. Tonabanan. Well, you should order mayim belayla. You shouldn't drink water at night. Any water at night. Now the sakana over here is not leeches. My sakana is sakana shavrire. It's the sakana of shavrire. I saw some of this really is type of a demon on charge of blindness. This guy is he's involved with blindness. The im sachu, if you do drink it, my takante, ika achrina bahade. If there's another person with him, then litar lisraye. If there's other person with him, lisraye Rashi yikatsenu mishnasa, wake him up. V'leimale sachina maya. So what's him sache? He drank or he wants to drink? I thought it meant that he drank. Let me see. Yeah, he wants to drink. If he wants to drink, so he should wake up his friend, right? He should wake him up. But late sachina maya. You should tell the guy, I'm thirsty for water. The Eloi, and if there's no person with him, the karkish benachtama achatzva. You should bang on the lid of the barrel. The name of Il and Afshe, and he should say Planya bar Planya, meaning he's called himself the son of so and so, of the mother. Amulach imech, your mother says, is Dari Mishrivi, Berire, Rire, Yire, Re. Bechise Chevre in a white cup. Some type of lachash. These incantations. So this incantation seemed to would have worked. Like